apologies for a big dummy. Mr. Vega and I just did our 1 hour live episode of 12 Volt Talk with his squeaky chair, and somebody forgot to set the live stream to be public. They set it to unlisted. Chair. Hey, it's working. Somebody forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, we apologize. I apologize for telling everybody, come join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys are probably sitting there with your popcorn in your hand and your Coke or your Miller Lite or your whatever you like to drink and sitting there going, where's Big Bald Dummy D at? And Mr. Vega and I were sitting here chatting, and we missed y'all. We did, because we were going through that show. We knocked it out. We got to the end. We're like, let's see some questions. And Vega said, Big D, I don't think we were live. And I said, why weren't we live? Because I set that thing up. You know, I did the invite. I knew what I was doing. Sorry.
And it's my fault too, because I noticed it earlier, but that I couldn't log on. But I should have said something. Next time I will.
Unbelievable. That I thought that was actually a pretty good show too. So those who didn't get to see it live, we'll switch it over to public tonight when we get done. But yeah, I see there's a few people on now. Sorry, you guys go ahead and ask questions if you have them. I know the first one's going to be, why are you such a big dummy? But, you know, hey, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, we're both big dummies.
Unreal. Can you see let's see.
So I'm trying to join into the chat here.
I think I'll have to do it on my phone. There it is. I see my big dummy self right there.
Create a channel to join chat. What in the world?
I'm frozen.
Are you?
There I am. Okay. Let's see. Chat publicly as Big D Wiz. No, I want to see what other people got to say. I don't think anybody said anything yet. They probably ate all their popcorn and drank all their drink and said, amateur hour is over. We are now leaving.
Yeah, and we done messed it up. We messed the whole thing up.
So in the future, I'll make sure that I choose public and not choose unlisted.
Oh, okay, that's why I can't log into it.
We have 5 viewers here. I don't see any chat. Yeah, I see facepalm.
Oh, I seen facepalm.
Facepalm, lol. You know, the way I see it is, you shouldn't expect anything else. We have 105 subscribers. We have a big dummy that's creating the invites.
And I can't even get my iPad to set up right.
That was funny. Those of you who didn't see the video, as Vega was talking, it was going like this. Oh, I can't do it. His iPad was tilting. And I was like, dude, do you see what's going on? He didn't say anything, but he actually caught it before it flipped all the way down on its back. So, yeah, epic failure. I was interested to see how many people we were going to have, because I shared it all over Facebook. Now people are going to probably be like, yeah, Big D said something that happened. It ain't going to happen.
But yeah, we messed it up. Messed it up real good.
Oh, man. Well, being in a time crunch too doesn't help.
I know.
But we'll I'll be able to pull it off on the phone, or pull it up on the phone next time to make sure we're live. But
I seen, but I should have said something, because I thought, I was like, surely I seen it said live up on my screen. I was like, surely it's live. Maybe it's just something on my end.
Yeah, well, you know, it's water under the bridge now. So what do you do?
Yeah.
But our topic that you guys haven't seen yet, because it was private, was about subwoofer boxes. So if you have any questions about prefab versus home built versus your mama built it versus your daddy bought it? Ask us. If you have any questions about Hi-Fi Vega's subwoofer test, ask us.
Yeah.
If you want to know why I'm such a big dummy, don't ask that because I don't know the answer. Yeah, I think we're pretty much watching ourselves here. There's a couple people watching, but they're Eric Wadsworth's like, yeah. Face palm. Ah, that stinks. Well, we're only on episode 5, so we haven't hit double digits yet. So you can expect the first few to be hiccups. We are attempting to find a better way to stream through YouTube since Robert and I are we're distant. There's not any inexpensive software to be able to do this without some shenanigans going on the PC because it's just, I don't know why either, because 5 years ago, Mark at Cardio Fabrication and I did this, and we used Google Hangouts, and Google Hangouts at the time was much better than it is now, had more features. We could do lower thirds and all kind of stuff, and now you can't even do that. They've stripped all the features out. And the third-party software to do this stuff is like $600-700. It's very expensive.
Yeah. We got to find some workaround. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I know T-Fade and Skip01 over at Everyday Audios is using Appear.in, and they're using a screen capture software, and they're using that to push it to YouTube. And to me, their quality seems pretty good, even doing all those jumps they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's neat that they can set up their Hollywood squares where they want them, whereas opposed to people having to see only me and then only you. I think it's kind of cool to see reactions, even though I might be taking a sip of my drink when you're talking.
And I do the same when you're talking.
Yeah, and I mute when I heard the walls banging a little while ago, so that hopefully everybody.
I heard that one. You having a party over there?
Yeah, no, it's kids, wife, and this room is probably not the best recording studio because there's a bathroom adjacent to it, and the kitchen is just right behind it, and there's hardwoods everywhere except for this room, and the sound just carries a lot. So I'm gonna attempt to move out to my OSS labs whenever it cools down a little bit, because I could do it now, but I have to run the air conditioner and it would be kind of loud. It would be hard for me to keep it quiet enough to be such a great quality audio stream such as we're seeing now or hearing now.
And next time we'll get it. We'll get it lined out. Man, I can't believe we've done the whole thing without it being live.
So those who just joined, when I said 8 p.m. Eastern, I meant 8 p.m. What's the next time zone in the Atlantic Ocean? Yeah. Whatever the next one is, that's really 9 o'clock. But no, actually, we started at 8. We started right at 8 o'clock. We went through the entire episode of building a subwoofer box and talked about prefab enclosures. We talked about different materials. We talked about how to cover your box, some resources. And then we got done and we're like, let's ask some questions and let people ask questions since we're done. And then, there wasn't anybody there. I'm like, Vega, there's nobody viewing. He said, I was going to tell you nobody was viewing, but I thought that I was seeing something wrong. It was on my side. Well, come to find out, when you create your event in YouTube, it defaults to be unlisted. You have to change it to public so that it streams to your channel. Guess what somebody didn't do? Make it public. So, yeah. It was like Eric's the only one there asking questions. He's like, you guys are boring me. Well, I guess we can talk about some of the other stuff too. If anybody has questions on anything that we talked about before, maybe, we talked about what is old school. We talked about some of our old systems that we used. We talked about using old school equipment. I've tested some amps recently. You guys see any of those videos? You have any questions about any of that stuff? just hit
And
us up.
our most recent one was the Amp Dyno, about power ratings, basically.
Yeah. And the other thing too is these videos, when they go live on YouTube, they may go live before I'm able to go in and edit the times. But since it's an hour-long podcast, what I'm doing is I'm going in, I'm actually kind of breaking it down into segments, because I know a lot of people, even if you want to watch the video, that's cool, but you may not want to see the whole hour. But if you want to hear, about how the amp dyno works, like in the video Robert was just talking about, when we talked about audio amplifier ratings, is you can click on just that segment and it takes you straight there. It's a lot of people don't know that in YouTube, but if you do like 2:35, that takes you to 2 minutes and 35 seconds into the video, so you can actually hyperlink to the different parts. And I'm trying to do that for all of them. I may not get every single segment, but I'm trying to hit the hot spots, and that way you guys can jump around. But listen to it audio wise too. You can go back. If you listen to it on the way to work or whatever, and then you hear something that you want to see the video part of it, you can go to the YouTube channel and just look at the video description. It has those links in there. So we just got a question. Mr. Tech Fanatic, I have a question. Why does Rockford run so hot? Even the new amps do.
You know what? This is a question. I've got a scar from a Rockford Fosgate amp. That it
Did you
was
say you had a Scar amp born from a Rockford Fosgate amp? Is that
no,
what it is?
I have a scar on my leg from a burn from Rockford Fosgate amp.
Well, you know what? I was told once by somebody who works at Rockford Fosgate, if the amp is hot, the heatsink is doing its job.
That's the same crap they told me.
After you went to the second-degree burns for your everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously it depends on the load you have on the amp. It depends on the ambient temperature. It depends on how much airflow it has. There's a lot of things that can, affect how hot the amp gets. But generally speaking, the Rockford amps I use are the old school amps, and they're Class AB, and they do get hot. They don't burn me because I know better than to touch them when they're in progress, Mr. Vega.
Well, you probably weren't running the Black and Grind at 2 ohms mono either. Maybe it's lower than 2 ohms even.
Yeah, man. You didn't run a Rockford anything less than 2 ohms mono. A stereo amp, that's like 1 ohm per channel.
Yeah.
Nobody
That's how you
did
do
that.
it, man. You don't get the bass if you don't.
Yeah, so if anybody has any more questions, I know we epically failed this, but we do have the podcast recorded, and it was actually, in my opinion, a pretty good one. So we'll make that live here in a little bit so you guys can see it, but we figured we would stay on for a little bit and let you guys ask questions. We have like 105 subscribers, so we don't have a very broad audience for this. And since I went on Facebook and told everybody we were going live at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we didn't really go live until 9, yeah.
Got him.
Got him! Next time I'll make sure that I choose public before we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take some suggestions for topics as well.
Yeah, suggestions for topics. But while we're waiting for questions, we'll kind of blab a little bit, and I'll spill a little. I'll spill a little bit of the beans that I talked about earlier in the video. That I'll spill it partly. So, Quality Mobile Video contacted me, and if you guys don't know, check them on YouTube. It's Quality Mobile Video on YouTube, and it's also qualitymobilevideo.com. They're in Southern California, I believe. The three of us, me, them, and 5 Star Car Stereo, all have around 70,000 views. So we're all reaching for the 100,000, like reaching up, almost can touch it. It's getting so close. We're getting excited. But, I hit them up a while back. I said, guys, let's do something together. That'll kind of help us gain some momentum. So Lorenzo from Quality Mobile Video hit me up and said, hey, can you help us by doing this? I said, sure. So actually, I grabbed some video segments that they needed, and that video is going to be coming out pretty soon. So I'm excited about that collab. So you guys stay tuned to make sure you're subscribed to their channel, Quality Mobile Video. Five Star Car Stereo, Dean and Fernando doing it up. They're doing videos almost every day. And wow, they put out some content. They put out some great install videos. So check them out too. So the three of us are aiming for 100K here within the next few months. And I don't know who's going to win, but if I lose, I'm going to shave my head.
You should grow out the fro like the thumbnail if you lose.
So yeah, the the problem is it wouldn't grow like that. So it would just be it would be the ring. What do you call it? Like the clown ring. I could get a wig. I could do a show with a wig. If I beat Five Star Car Stereo and Quality Mobile Video to 100,000 subscribers, I'll wear a wig, and I'll
And I'm sure Boston Jim will cuss you out if you do.
probably he probably won't be too happy about that. All right, looks like we might have some questions. Can a person still buy passive woofers to build box similar to kicker truck boxes in the 90s? So yeah, I think what he means is the passive radiators, and yeah, they still
Yeah.
sell them. In fact, if you look at Kicker's page right now, some of their new speakers actually have passive radiators in them.
Yeah, and they use the little 6.5 is the last one that I seen that they did. The dual 6.5.
Yep. In fact, the funny thing is, it looks just like the old boxes from the late 80s that they had, the little sidekicks or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
It was a different type of passive back then. They didn't have the ribbed surround like the new ones do. But hey, it tells you that it still works. It's just a matter of getting the proper enclosure size and make sure you get the right weight, because the passive radiators they have mass and all that stuff too, and they have to have a certain amount of X max and all that to match up with your woofers.
And
But
you
I
need to
know,
make sure you buy that specific passive radiator, not just throw another subwoofer in there. I mean, Parts Express sells them. Matasound, I believe, sells them.
yeah, those are good. Those are good resources to look. And if you have questions, you can ask those in the comment section. And those guys are usually pretty good about getting back up with you. Why not run a bigger amp at 2 ohms to get the same output as a 1 amp? That is a fantastic question, Tech Fanatic, because we touched on that on one of our previous videos, but I don't think that's stated enough, because when I do my amp dyno test videos, I use the Fluke clamp, and I show you guys, to best of my ability, what the efficiency is. And some of these recent 3K amps I tested at 4 ohms and 2 ohms, they were like almost incredibly efficient. I mean, we're talking 92, 93% at 4 ohms and like 88, 85% at 2 ohms. Yeah, why not buy a 3K amp and run it at 2 ohms and get your 2,000 watts and have that efficiency?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's more expensive to do the power up high, big power. So that's probably why they're all rated at 1 ohm nowadays. But yeah, if you're wanting to run efficient, I mean, I do that right now on my little CT Sounds amp. I typically run it 4 or 2 ohms instead of 1.
Yeah, so I think it's a common misnomer to think that if you have an amp that's rated the max or max RMS power at 1 ohm, that you need to run it at 1 ohm. But no, run it at 2 ohms, run it at 4 ohms. A lot of those 3K amps, I was thinking, man, I could use these in my car with my 3 ohm JL sub, and they would be perfect power, even though they're big. But still, I think that's a great idea. I think more people should do that. I mean, obviously, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but let's see. Santo asked, what was your EQ of choice? The KGC 6042A or the Alpine ERG 180? He says, I was always Alpine. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Vega?
Well, I actually wasn't an EQ guy, to be honest with you. I was always go by whatever I could get on the deck. So I didn't really get into that, but I know a lot of people really love those EQs.
Did your video freeze?
Yes, it did. Yeah, we made it an hour and a half today,
Yeah. So Mr. Vega have technical problems. Before it's been every 30 minutes, but it made it over an hour today. So I guess just keep it on and we'll
Yeah,
just for a
it's
few more
fine.
minutes, we'll answer some
I'm an
questions.
audio man now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it switches to him, it'll be straight audio. And I don't think there's a way that I can set it so it doesn't switch. I'll look real quick. I don't think there is, or I don't know how to do it. But when it switches to him, it'll go blank. So let's look. I don't know if we answered that. So we didn't answer that. I'm not a huge EQ guy either, but Alpine for the older stuff, they made really quality. Of course, Kenwood wasn't bad, but I preferred Alpine myself too. Let's see. Eric asked about setting up the dyno. How do you set the game? What volume on the deck? I don't even think in the last video about the wattage that I talked a lot about how that was set up. Now, I think Mr. Vega just dropped out. Are you still there or did you go? All right, I think he dropped out. He should be able to use the link and come back in after he reboots his broken Apple device. So I'll try to answer your question. The dyno has built-in DD1 plus controls, or it has a way to set your amplifier gains based on the head unit. So the head unit I use is the Alpine CDA 9815, which is from 2002 or 2003. And I've tested a while back about the total harmonic distortion on it's very low. And it looks like you're back.
I'm back. I'm back.
Good. And you're switching. Okay. So I was talking about how to set up the dyno because that was one of the questions. So the DD1 Plus utility is built into the dyno, and the head unit puts out 4 volts, a little over 4 volts RMS, super low THD. So what I normally do is use the DD1 Plus and set my gain overlap to 10 dB. And you do that by following the menus on the dyno. And honestly, once you've done it a few times, you know how quickly the amp is supposed to count up, because the way the track works on the dyno is it's a ramp track. So the 40 hertz track, it starts really low dB and then it goes up all the way until 0 dB. So it's counting up, or it's almost like you slide in a volume knob yourself. It's ramping up that decibel level of the 40 hertz track or the 1 kilohertz track or whatever the track is. So you set the 10 dB overlap, then it's going to count up cleanly. And that's why you see the amp dyno count the way it does. So it's sending a test tone signal into the amplifier, and then it's measuring the speaker leads coming out of the amplifier. They go into the front of the dyno. And then the thing we talked about before was there's probes on the dyno for positive and negative that actually go into the power wires of the amp. And you try to put it as close as you can to the input of the amplifier, and that way you'll get an accurate measurement for the voltage, because you guys will see the voltage kind of drop as I load down the dyno and do the test. And the other thing is that we talked about before, the dyno does not have an internal power supply, so you have to have external power. In my case, I use 8 14-volt batteries, and I've got some capacitors as well, but for the most part, I just use the 8 14-volt batteries because they're able to keep the test around 14 volts when I'm done. So yeah, that may require in the future a full video to go over that. Maybe we can get Tony DeMore on and we can shoot him some questions about some of the things about the dyno. But
yeah, that'd be awesome. You know, it's simple on the AMM1. I basically just set up like you would in a car. So I know what my head unit, I do it with the DD1, and I do the same on the amp, just like you would in a car. And that's how I do it in there. So it's a much easier process for me.
yeah, that's true. So TechFanatic says Orion 5000D, at 1 ohm versus 11,000D at 2 ohms. Yeah. Obviously, you get an amp that's rated down to 1 ohms, you don't have to run it at 1 ohm, and it would be probably in the long term, more reliable, and also it'll be more efficient to run it at the higher ohm load. Although you're still going to require the same amount of current, for the wattage that you're getting out of the amp. So there's nothing free here, but if you are getting a higher efficiency at 2 ohms or 4 ohms, then it could work out better for your system.
Well, and truth be told, you're rising to those impedances as you're playing music. I mean, unless you're running a test tone, you're not going to be a static load. Like when we test something, we use a static load or a pure resistive load, and it's not, it doesn't
It doesn't fluctuate, yes.
fluctuate. Yeah,
And that was covered in the episode 4, the audio amplifier ratings.
yeah,
Yeah, so check that one because we go into detail talking about reactive versus resistive loads and how those differ. Let's see. New school folks seem to buy high-end subs that need 1,000 watts to even move them. We used to get 150 dB plus on 4 to 6 cheapish subs and 8 to 1,200 watts. So that's a good point. I don't know. I think there's probably some debate about a couple things with that statement. One of them would be the mics that were used back then. If we had a way to use the same pressure sensor like they use now, but two would be what frequency were you measuring? Measuring 60 hertz, 80 hertz, whatever.
yeah.
And I'm not the SPL
And
master.
that's an episode I plan at some point. I'm sure you've seen it in the Google Doc. Old school SPL versus new school, and like
Yeah.
you said, that mic is it's like 3 to 6 dB different than the old audio control mic.
Right.
So, I done 148, 149 with a single 12. Today, that would be like a 141, 142, which is not very impressive. Back in the day, it was, but it's not now. And another reason why that I think that they use less subs now is because the competition, the sanctioning bodies, started measuring cone area with power. So you can't get that cheat of using, 815s on 100 watts.
Yeah, that's true. Very true there. So that would be interesting though, just as a shootout, maybe something in the future. It's a good idea that we could try to compare that to see, one of those
Yeah.
newfangled subs. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to test some of them new subs, but I don't got no power like that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a low power guy.
yeah, I don't have the electrical system in my cars to do all that
Yeah,
stuff either because I don't want to run 200 pounds of zero gauge and put all
yeah.
those extra batteries because it's just not my thing.
Well, plus me, in the Suburban, I've got 400 watts going to the front speakers and only 600 watts going to the subs. So there's that.
Yeah. Not everybody can provide such quality power to their front end.
You can. You just got to be dedicated.
Well, you got to be dedicated to put your horns or your piezo's up there by your ears so they'll start bleeding. Um, yeah. So again, guys that joined us late, um, I apologize for not broadcasting the podcast episode because we really want to interact with you guys, and I see that we
Yeah.
got like 15 right now. I'll make
We
sure.
we apologize. We're a team.
Yeah, I'll make sure next week that we test it and we're actually live so you guys can see because we really want to interact afterwards. And we try to do the hour show, get it done, and then interact with the viewers. So sorry again did that happen, but we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. But I think we're unless anybody else has any good questions, we're probably gonna sign out because I've got a long day tomorrow.
And I'm off, so
Oh, lucky sucker. You off Friday too?
no. I'm off for a volleyball game tomorrow.
Oh,
We got to
okay.
travel 3 hours, so I use a
Oh,
burned a vacation day.
man. I wish I was off tomorrow. I don't think I'm feeling so good right now.
Hey, all the guys love this show. Every one of you, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, there's a way to make the show live.
Oh
Focus
man.
Dark Audio. You just missed it. Yeah, I didn't set it to live when I started the stream, so it was unlisted. And we'll make sure next time that we will do it correctly, and you guys can watch us live and
And
interact.
you can see the show we just done
Yeah,
as soon as we publish it.
yeah, I'll go in tonight or tomorrow at the latest and go in and go ahead and make it live so you guys can see the one that we recorded because it's up there. It's just I got to flip the switch. And I want to add the links in there too so you have all that stuff. So it'll probably be tomorrow. So we'll do that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Apologize again for being out of focus.
Oh.
Hello. Can we get some focus? There we go. It's that big spot up there causing problems. But next week, no more crying wolf. We will be live. You guys can hang around to the end and ask us questions. And no more failures because I do not accept failures.
And if we're not live, you guys can just, I don't know, just thumb us down. Just thumb us down.
They can eat that popcorn and watch Netflix instead of watching us. That would be horrible.
Yeah. They don't talk about karate on Netflix.
No, they sure don't. All right, guys and Mr. Vega. Peace out. Until next time, we're out of here.